Next up on the Cosmic News Network, First Contact with Joshua Pert.
Good morning, Earthlings. Good. How you doing today?
Good.
How you doing today? Welcome
Morning,
to First
Earthlings.
Contact
How you doing today?
Radio.
Welcome to First Contact Radio.
To talk about all these things I'm talking about is because in life, everything is energy. Every single thing that's out there.
Yo, it's First Contact with Joshua Poet. He's the man on the mic, just in case you didn't know it. Covering news from all around the globe, from the weather and space to UFOs. We'll talk politics and make you open your eyes. Conspiracy theories and government lies. We'll dig it all up and try to find the proof. Cause it's time to demand the truth. It's time.
First Contact Radio.
We have arrived.
First
Contact Radio.
It's time.
First Contact Radio.
We have arrived. First Contact Radio.
It's time.
First Contact Radio.
It's time to demand
First
the
Contact
truth.
Radio. We have arrived.
First Contact Radio.
It's
Good morning, Earthlings. How you doing today? Welcome back to First Contact Radio. Glad to have you again, as always. So today's the 24th of March. We're just moving right along this month, aren't we? Moving right along. So we have a sun sign is in Aries. It's going to be here. We just entered Aries last week, so we're going to be here all the way till next month, middle of next month. So Aries, as we know, is the Emperor. Okay, the Emperor, Hebrew letter He, he who sets in order. Color red. It's the beginning color, passion, starting things off. So Aries is all about starting things off, the new beginnings. It's the first sign of the zodiac. He who sets in order, we're setting our house in order. This is the time of year we do spring cleaning because we want to put things in order. So we kind of are moving along. This idea fits in line with the energy that is going on, and it fits in line with what we're doing. So everything kind of ties together. So we're putting together in order, putting the order of what it is we are going to be doing in the world and in life. And then here we have the moon sign for today. The transition is to Gemini. Gemini is the lovers. Okay, in this card we see two people chained, or two people standing out looking at each other. The male, the conscious mind, is looking at the female. The female, unconscious mind, is looking up at the angel, the higher self. And this is the way in which we make the proper choices, when we're constantly keeping an eye on what our higher self is looking to do. Because otherwise, if we just get caught up in the physical world, if we're not looking towards the spiritual world, then we're not going to notice that it's there, or we're not going to even behave accordingly to do anything that's going to move us along the path easier. Remember, it's just about energy. So either we're using the energy in the right way or not. If we're stuck in the physical world and we're not reading the higher plans of how to use the energy, then we're just missing out on how to use the energy. If we look to the higher realms, we see a blueprint, a plan on how we move this energy along, how we move with it. So that's what it's all about, how we move energy. So we see here's our transition from Taurus to Gemini. We just talked about Gemini. That transition is going on over the course of this next hour. As we move through the course of today, later on this afternoon, we do have the sun sign is going to be in a sextile with the moon sign. So Gemini and the Emperor are going to be in a good pattern and good energy with each other. So the Emperor wants to set in order, and Gemini is about making choices using our discernment. So good choices, putting things in order, good opportunity to really organize. So it really indicates that there's a lot of good opportunities, good organization, good way of getting things together this afternoon. As it progressed, getting close to the 5 o'clock hour, we do have a opposition there with the moon sign and with Saturn. Right here, make it a little larger, you could see it. Moon sign and Saturn. Saturn's all about discipline, focus. So we're going to focus Gemini. Gemini's about communication. It's about our relationships with our higher self, with others, based on the choices that we make. And so we have an opposition here. They're both on the opposite ends of this teeter-totter. So what's going to happen? Is one going to jump off, or are they going to play nice together? Ideally, if both of them are working together on this teeter-totter, so to speak. It'd be nice if they work together, because it's never good when someone just jumps off. So hopefully we'll be able to focus and have some discipline applied to the way in which we make our choices and do the things that we do. It'd be very helpful. And then as it gets to the evening, just shy of 11 o'clock, Neptune is in a square with Gemini. Neptune is telling us we have to take a new perspective on things. What is the way in which we're communicating, the choices that we're making. Let's take a new perspective. Let's make sure that what we're doing makes sense on many different levels. So we're not just looking at it one way, but we're looking at it multiple ways. If we go over here to Planet Watcher, we see the wheel for today. So we see how things are progressing. So by now, you should really get the idea, if you're not familiar with one of these wheels, how things do move slowly. You know, we still have, and we'll move very slowly through here, Sagittarius, Saturn, Sagittarius right here. We see things are moving slowly up in the Capricorn area. You know, the thing that's moving fast, we could see the moon is moving fast. It's moving right through here. But a lot of other ones just kind of stay stable, like this one right here, the sun in Aries. It's going to be here for the duration of this month and into next month. So just by looking at this on a daily basis, we can start to see the speed at which things move. Things don't move very, very fast. Things move at a steady, slow pace. So if we get in sync with that pace, who knows what might happen. On the Jewish calendar, 4 Nisan is the name of the day. The month is Nisan. It's the first month of the Jewish calendar. So just like we are experiencing the first sign of the zodiac, we also have the first month of the calendar. For the Jewish calendar, same year, 5775. Daily thought for today: the source of all pleasure. Rabbi Shalom Dovber of Loptovich used to say that if the hedonist would know the ecstasy of divine light, they would abandon everything and chase after it. It's not just pleasure, it's the source of all pleasures. It lies waiting for you to uncover in every mitzvah and every breath of Torah. Current moon phase is a waxing moon, making our way up to the full moon, 23% of the way there. And at space weather, our solar wind is 535.0 kilometers per second. Our planetary K index, quiet in the 2 range, might get a little bit higher, but we certainly have subsided quite a bit since last week's 8. One big coronal hole on the bottom. No direction or indication that we're going to get hit by anything from there. M-class flare possibilities at 15%. X-class is only at 1. Geomagnetic storm activity is dropping. It's going from 40 to 35 in the mid-latitudes. In the upper latitudes, dropping as well. There's a little increase in some areas, but for the most part, severity is dropping from 60 to 45. And if we look up in the sky tonight, this was the sky last night. Venus was really bright, wasn't it? So just imagine it even more progressed. Venus is going to be way down here. The moon's going to be way up here. Tells us that the moon shines in the big, loose Hades cluster for the Americas. The moon occults Aldebaran for Alaska and northwestern Canada. Alright, so that's what's going on there. So that is our cosmic weather for today. So you know what's going on in the world, how to use the energy. Remember, it's just energy. That's my motto on this show. One of the themes, more to speak rather than the motto. The motto is trust God. The theme is everything is energy. Everything's energy. We just need to find a way to work with this energy a little better and better each day. That's it. UFO News is up next.
This is the UFO News with Joshua Poet.
right, Dirk. Thank you very much. First one takes us to Garson, UFO over Garson, Canada, August 9th. Alright, here's one interesting UFO sighting filmed over Garson in Ontario, Canada. Happened the 9th of August 2014. Witness report was August 2014, 1 a.m. I had the urge to look outside when I saw two red flashing lights above the backyard. I grabbed my girlfriend's iPad 2, began filming it. When I started filming it, it hovered above the yard. It looked like the star or full moon. As I filmed it, the object changed colors and then appeared to shut off and then disappeared. I said to myself, I hope it comes back so I can get a better shot of it. I shut off the camera and about 30 seconds later it reappeared about 50 feet to the right from where it had shut off. I then turned the camera back on and this UFO started to stalk me. It's almost scary, to be honest. I did swear at it once, and I was nervous as it watched me and then hovered over my head, ascending and descending 20 to 30 feet above me. The object remained quiet until I flashed the back house light at it numerous times. It then started to hum and became louder and like a sewing machine. Then helicopter and finally a jet as it slowly left my view. The strange part is I filmed the first clip with having no sound, with some of the second with no sound. As I said, the sound started after I flashed my light at it. If you watch closely, you can really see the craft make very unusual flight patterns above the neighbor's house and myself. Also, after I flashed a light at the UFO, it started to blink the red lights again, as it did when I first saw it above the backyard. I felt as though it was trying to communicate back to me. Please excuse my comments, as I was very excited to say the least, almost prepared for a face-to-face encounter. This is not my first sighting of a strange craft, and there have been more to follow. I will submit the other sightings I captured another time. Craft looked like a big black ball or sphere about 10 feet or so, give or take a few feet. Okay, let's take a look at this. 2 minutes 49 seconds for the video, and what we have here is the object he's talking about. I'm just going to skip ahead here. Okay, very interesting footage. But with all these, it's best if you take and enlarge the screen. That way you can get a really good view of what's going on. Alright, moving on. Next story goes up to the sun, 22nd. UFO seen at sun in 4 places in less than 15 minutes. You can see how it was jumping around up there. Not quite that quick. This is more of a time lapse. The object is seen in 4 frames, too close up, too far away. While looking at the image of the sun, I noticed that one object looks like a disc shoot off to the far distance, and then it shoots back to its original close position in just a matter of 10 to 15 minutes. For it to do that, it would have to travel at incredible speed. I put the sequence into a GIF so you can see that the object near the sun and how it shoots back and forth. The UFO appears at the 12-second mark. There's the object right here, and you could see it zipping around in there. Okay, onward. First 2015 crop circles, Santa Catarina, Brazil. Alright, you can see them standing in the middle of it. Here's one of the first crop circle formations in 2015. This one was found in Santa Catarina in Brazil, March 18th. It was submitted to us. Here's the report from our reader. Hello, my name is Marcelo. I live in Brazil. March 18th, 2015, a big crop circle appeared in my city. There's one big unicorn. Here the people believe the UFO makes the circle. Okay, that's really all we have of it. Close-up views. Looking for a long shot so we can see more definitely what it is. Okay, that is pretty much the extent of what we see there. UFO transport near Area 51. This was Nevada, March 21st, 2015. Now this one here, I'm not sure if this is real or not. Could be a hoax. Just something to distract people away from the reality of things. Who knows? Who knows? It's a 1 minute 35-second video, but you're going to see the object here momentarily. Got the police escort. And of course, here comes our object. There we go, look at that. So, is that real? Don't know. Why would they be transporting a UFO in that way? Don't know. Is it what we think it is? I don't know. I have no answers for this other than there it is. Could be part of a parade, could be a hoax, doesn't necessarily mean it's real, or it could be. Stranger things have happened. 9-foot tall ET observed inside Space Shuttle Payload bay, says former Kennedy Space Center employee. Alright. This is just a rendering, it's not the actual photo. I, Clark C. McClelland, former SCO Space Fleet personnel, personally observed an 8 to 9 foot tall ET on my 27-inch video monitors while on duty at the Kennedy Space Center Launch Control Center. The ET was standing upright in the Space Shuttle Payload bay, having a discussion with 2 tethered U.S. NASA astronauts. I also observed in my monitors the spacecraft of the ET as it was stabilized, safe orbit on the rear of the Space Shuttle main engine pods. I observed the incident for about a minute and 7 seconds, plenty of time to memorize all that I was observing. It was an ET, an alien starship. To all who have faith in me, I present you with this artist's concept above of what I saw years ago at the KSC. It was a tall creature, about 8 to 9 feet tall, humanoid body shape with 2 arms, 2 hands, 2 legs, 2 feet. The color of the skin I could not determine. It appeared to have 2 what appeared to be eyes, but it was not detailed enough for any other comment. Okay. So here's our gentleman. And all we do have is there's a pretty good sized object right there. There he is. You can see he's a lot larger. Okay, and this is a rendition of what he saw up there. Okay. Pretty good sized person. And this is a picture. It's been analyzed. Is it real? I don't know. Pretty good sized being, but obviously very human looking. Okay, I'm going to move on. A documentary film features the role of shadow government in preventing the truth about UFOs to come out. When the moon's shadow blocks the sun in a total eclipse, a documentary about how the secret force blocked the U.S. government to reveal the truth about UFOs is officially launched. A Kickstarter campaign documentary talks about how the dark shadows of the sinister force operating secretly behind the U.S. government to hide the truth about UFOs. The Kennedy's Last Stand is a documentary that promises to reveal new evidence about the knowledge of President Kennedy on the classified UFO files during the World War II. Explored in the film is the reason his several attempts to gain access to UFO-related projects and files during his presidency failed. The film also highlights how his effort to gain access to the documents and data became a crucial factor in his assassination. Dr. Michael Salla, the film's producer, claims that the documentary will be on the first one about JFK assassination to feature the close relationship with JFK and the first Secretary of Defense James Forrestal. Dr. Salla says the film shows how Forrestal introduced the UFO issue to Kennedy during a trip to Germany in 1945. In the same trip, JFK reportedly witnesses advanced Nazi technologies that were brought to the U.S. under Operation Paperclip. Forrestal helped with the operation as then Secretary of the Navy. Dr. Salla states that the documentary makes the first ever revelation about the Kennedys' initiative to cooperate with the Soviet Union's Nikita Khrushchev on joint lunar and space missions in September 1963, and how such effort included a secret attempt to access classified UFO files previously kept secret in his administration. All right. So there you go. That is our UFO news for today. I'll be back. In the meantime, here's something for you to watch.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Bases that are secrets here. We're not supposed to know where they come from or where they go. And if you ask our leaders today, this is what they will say. I can neither confirm or deny. I can neither confirm or deny. I can neither confirm or deny. What's up with their lives? Plausible deniability. That's their answer to all we think we see. So pay attention. Read between the lines. Changes are happening, revealing lies. And if you ask our leaders today, this is what they will say. I can neither confirm or deny. I can neither confirm or deny. I can neither confirm or deny. What's up with their lives? Now, underground is where they live. In the bases that are secretive. We're not supposed to know where they come from or where they go. If you ask our leaders today, this is what they will say. I can neither confirm or deny. I can neither confirm or deny. I can neither confirm or deny. What's up with their lives? I can neither confirm or deny. They can neither confirm or deny. It's time for them, confirm or deny. No more secret lies. I don't know about you, but I can't stand it anymore. I know what I saw. You know what you saw. Stand up for yourself. Think for yourself. The truth is out there. No more lies. No more lies. No more lies.
All All right. No more lies. No more lies. No more lies. Do you think that will ever happen? Do you think we'll ever get to the point where we don't tell any more lies on this planet? I don't know. Today seems to be the I don't know day. There's a lot of things in the world that just seem to go on, and I guess it's just all up to us, right? It's all up to us. I mean, we're the ones who are in charge of whether there's lies or not. So if we choose to be honest, we'll be honest. And if we choose to lie, well, that's what we'll get, right? All right, yesterday I reintroduced the Tree of Life, spoke about that. I gave you the Reader's Digest condensed version. I wanted you to understand how simple it is, and it really is that simple. It's a very simple system. Everything in the world that we go through, every lesson, every idea can relate back to that Tree of Life. And we could find out the balancing point. We have one side to the right, one to the left, the extremes, and the middle is balance. Today I want to continue on and get into discussing some other aspects of the Tree of Life, in particular the tarot cards. Because tarot cards are a way that we can look at energy. They're an occult science. The word occult simply means that which is hidden. So we're not talking about something that is demonic or evil or anything that. Those are all values that people assign to it. Those aren't values that are assigned to it by anyone who created this. These are just ways in which we look at energy, ways in which energy is categorized, organized, so we can look at it. So every one of the 22 tarot cards, the major cards, find a position on the Tree of Life, as well as all the other cards, 72 cards in all. If we go and we look at these cards, let me pull this up here. We have paths. Each one of these paths here is one of the major arcana. Okay, there's 22 of them. Inside each one of these circles, or sephira, or classroom as I call them, is another set of cards, and these are cards that are numbered cards. So here we have all the ones, or the aces. Fire, the water, air, the earth. In this case, wands, cups, swords, pentacles. Same thing here, but the twos and the kings. Over in understanding, we have the threes, and we have the queens. Over here in the sphere of mercy, we have the fours. Severe severity are the fives. Beauty, sixes. Down in the sphere of the emotions and victory, we have 7. Splendor, we have 8s. In the foundation, we have the 9s, and in the kingdom, the 10s, or the pages, or the princesses, depending on which your deck you're using, or might describe or assign those. As we look at the tree, the reason there's just 4 different there's 4 different realms we're looking at. Okay, we want to consider fire, water, air, and earth. You hear me say this over and over and over again. Fire is ideas, water is emotions, air are words and actions, and earth is the physical form. So basically what you have is a system that starts off with ideas, or the mind. Kind of ties into what the Kabbalion says, is this is one giant mind. So we have this giant mind, this ideas. I call them the ideas of God. The ideas of God are expressed into the world. Love, or emotions, is applied to them. And then either words or actions take them to the next level, and then form is created. So basically we speak words of love. We take the ideas of God, we speak them as words of love, and we create things. We create the things that we want. Now, sometimes we're not necessarily speaking with words of love. Sometimes we're speaking with emotions. And that emotion goes in, and that's what helps to create something. So we see the process. We have an idea, we water it with an emotion. It could be love is ideal. We water it, and then action is taken. So fire is the wands. Wands are ideas. Cups, water, emotions. Then we have swords, which is air. If we take the first letter S away from swords, we're left with words. So words, swords are words. And finally, form, earth, physical realms. In the physical realms is where we have a combination of the fire, the water, the air, which got us to the point of where we are. So we have in each one of these suits, or each one of these particular sephira, those 4 different realms. Now, when we look at the tree of life, we're looking at this as a symbol that looks like it's just one flat symbol. But if you sort of imagine this as a building with 4 different floors, one floor might be the floor of fire, next floor is the water, next is the air, and finally the physical floor. And each one of these floors has 10 offices in them. So you can go up to the top floor and you can visit all 10 offices, all 10 classrooms. You can go to the next floor, you do the same thing, and so on and so forth. So you've got 40 classrooms then that you're going to, each one of these. So the classroom of fire has 10 different ways, 10 different classrooms. Water has 10 different classrooms. Air has 10. And earth. And each one of these classrooms are situated on a different level of the building. Is it making sense? It's one way to look at it. You might have another way that makes sense, but if you just kind of build off of this idea, it certainly will help you to understand. Now, what we want to look at further is we want to take a further look at what are all of these paths in between. Because the idea is we go to a classroom, we learn a lesson. We move to the next classroom. We learned a lesson. But in between every classroom is a major lesson, an archetypal symbol. That's what the major cards are. The major tarot, each one of them has a Hebrew letter assigned to it. And so what we're learning is not the idea of the card. The card is just a symbol that allows us to give an interpretation of what this energy is about. So for example, here we have the card of the Fool. Well, what is going on is the Fool is the one who is bridging the crown, unity, with wisdom, what we learn. So the Fool is jumping out, this innocent being is jumping out into the world. Everything is whole, unified. He's innocent and he's going off to learn. Where on this side, we have understanding. In order to go from the state of unity to understanding, understanding is a bit more than just learning. Understanding requires a process of focused concentration, concentrating on what it is that we are trying to understand. And in that process, we come to that understanding. We understand more of who we are. We understand how to make and manifest in our lives the things we want to make and manifest in our lives. Then we go down. So this is card 0. This is 1. Card number 2 right here, right in the middle, is the High Priestess. The High Priestess is the middle path. It's kind of a hidden path because in order to get to it, you have to access it through this pathway here. But once you enter the middle path, you are in the inner temple. This path right here that goes across, the Empress, is a path of imagination and creativity. The Empress is the pregnant Earth Mother. The Hebrew letter, Daleth, means door. So we actually have to go through the door to get into the inner temple. And in the inner temple, this is where we go in to learn more about ourselves, because that sacred part exists in every one of us. Coming from this place of wisdom, we have 2 cards. We have the High Priest, or the Hierophant. The Hierophant learns things and is now going to take that learning into the sphere of mercy, which is also expansion because Jupiter is here, and it's expanding what we know. It's expanding our knowledge. It's expanding our understanding of the spiritual things in life. It's hooking together, the letter Va, hooking together the things that we learn, the spiritual things, with the physical realm as we come closer and more down into manifestation. From the things that we learn to go back to the heart place, the Emperor is telling us we have to set things in order. On the other side of the tree, we have the Lovers. Says once we understand things, we now have at our disposal the ability to make better choices, use our discernment, discrimination better, and that's what this is all about, choices, the Lovers. And those choices help us to get to the center, to the heart, beauty. The charioteer is dressed ready for war or off to go on a journey. Once we understand something, we understand how we use our energy. We can be real severe with it. We can be intense, be a bully, a tyrant, or we can use that energy in a passionate, creative way. The choice is up to us. Over here, 8th, strength. Strength is the tarot card that teaches us that love, that when allowed to flow through our heart, becomes a great strength for us. It bridges together the aspects of mercy and severity, too little, too much, humility, and warlikeness. So we find great strength when we allow the energy that we have available to us to channel through our heart space. We then tame that energy. The Hermit is teaching us the lessons of patience and timing, because once we understand how the field of energy around us is expanded, we understand the necessity to honor the spiritual things in life, but not be so humble that we're run over it. We find our way back to the middle because we've learned a great lesson, and now we're going to go shine that light for others to see. The Wheel of Fortune tells us here that seasons are changing. Our view of the world has expanded. We have everything we need at our disposal, and the Wheel of Fortune says don't get so caught up in what you have at the moment, because things change, cycles change, seasons change, the wheel turns, and as the wheel turns, we experience new things in life. And this is the realm where our emotions are affected. So our emotions are definitely affected and caught up in the changes that are taking place. So we have to learn to get control of our emotions so we don't get caught up just because in what's happening just because something changes. We go to the other side here, 11, justice. When things get out of control and too severe, we have to apply a state of justice to it, some sort of karmic balance, so that we can get back to the place of beauty. Because if we realize that we're becoming too warlike, we understand that that's not really a beneficial way for us to behave. So we have to apply that state of justice, personal justice. Not out there in the world legal justice, but personal justice. The Hangman here tells us we have to take a new perspective about how we use our energy, especially if we see that it's getting out of control, too intense. If our ego might be getting in our way. So we take a new perspective on things. We hang upside down so that we're looking at things, getting a better look, and therefore we see a bit more of the splendor of the world, how things are working. Card number 13, the card of death, brings us from the emotions. Once we feel all these emotions in the world, emotions really are tough to deal with, so we go through a state of death because of that emotions as we find balance. Find the balance in how they all work. 14 right here, the higher self, card of temperance, again right in the middle, that when we allow that higher part of ourselves to run the show, we find ourselves standing on a solid foundation of balance. One foot in the physical, one in the spiritual. 15, the devil is about illusion. So if we get so caught up in our own splendor, we have to move past illusion and get back to the heart space to see what's real. And when we get back there, when we make that journey, what we find out that as opposed to this card where you have two characters chained in front of this character, this is the same image here, the lovers. We see through the illusion that there really is no chain. And all we have to do is focus our conscious mind towards the unconscious and tell our unconscious to look to the higher self, and we get ourselves back in balance. 16 is the card that goes across this way. It's the card of the Tower. 16, the Tower, is preconceived ideas. And they come about because our emotions or our intellect get out of whack. So we get preconceived ideas, false notions about things. But it's that higher self then that balances it out. I like to think of this as a tightrope walker. The higher self is the tightrope walker. This is the pole that is held to balance things out. You got the emotions and the intellect, and so you're walking across that tightrope, just balancing things out. The preconceived ideas. Stay right in the middle pillar, right in the middle path. Number 17 right here, the star is bringing us from victory to the foundation. It's telling us to go inside. Take time out away from our emotions. Go in, meditate. Ask questions of ourselves. Find out what is the source of the feelings that we have at this moment in time. And figure them out. When we do, we stand on a better foundation. 18 is the moon. We have to have faith. Once we get caught up in this watery realm, the emotional realm, we need to have faith so that we can make it to the physical realm. Faith of the path that we're walking. Belief in ourselves. Faith that these emotions have some positive effect on us, which they all do. 19, the sun tells us we have to take personal responsibility for ourselves. And if we get too out of control with our mind, we have to be strong enough to bring ourselves back to our solid foundation. And judgment tells us no matter what goes on, we want to approach life from a non-judgmental standpoint. Look at things objectively, because if we do, we start to find a way how we can be more effective in life. Otherwise, if we don't, we just judge the situation, and in judging a situation, sometimes we look past what it is we want to see because we have our mind and attention elsewhere. And finally down here, the world, which is the administrative intelligence, signing our name on life. Taking charge of who we are because we're in balance. We're standing on the foundation. All we have to do is bring what's in our unconscious or subconscious mind into the physical world. Okay, so by understanding where all the tarot placements are in here, it helps you to get back to where you need to be. And remember, with the Tree of Life, we're always looking to get back to the middle pillar. So anything that we can use as a guidepost to help us along the way is very beneficial, and that's what these tarot provide, guideposts. Signs along the way to let us know which way to go, what choices we have available to us. Here is a table that you'll find very helpful. It's called the Table of Tarot Correspondences. It shows all 22 tarot cards, starting with the Fool, all the way down to the World, Fool, Magician, High Priestess, Emperor, Empress, Emperor, Hierophant, Lovers, Chariot, Strength, Hermit, Wheel of Fortune, Justice, Hangman, Death, Temperance, Devil, Tower, Star, Moon, Sun, Judgment, World. Each one of these has a color, a primary color or a main color, excuse me, not primary, but a color that is assigned to it. As you become more familiar with the colors and their connections to the cards, you start to see that the color also adds into the understanding of what it is all about. Letters here, if you're interested in the musical aspect of each one of these, just look at the musical notes, the values. Hebrew letter for each of these: Aleph, Beth, Gimel, Daleth, He, Vav, Zayin, Chet, Tet, Yod, Kaf, Lamed, Mem, Nun, Samek, Ayin, Pet, Zadi, Kof, Resh, Shin, Tav. And each one of these has a meaning. So Aleph means bull, Beth means house, Gimel, camel. So in the case of the magician, house, this is the house where energy is stored and focused. The magician is the one who is storing this energy so that it can understand it better. High Priestess, camel, Gimel, camel. It's the one who brings the information from one place to the other. Empress, the door. We walk through the door. Emperor, the window. We look through the window to set things in order. Hierophant, the Vav, the hook, hooking together the spiritual with the physical. Lovers, sword. Zayin, sword, using that sword of discernment to cut away the things that aren't serving us. Chet, fence, understanding that this fence provides protection around us, sort of like a suit of armor. Serpent, the serpent power within us, strength, teth. We learn to tame the serpent energy within us. Hermit, Yod, the open hand, the hand that's going to be open to help others. The Wheel of Fortune, the closed hand, something that we've grasped, our new understanding of things. Justice, Lamed, which is an ox goad, helps bring them together so they can walk together in balance. The Hangman, water, Mem, looking through the emotions, see things in a different way. Noon, fish, teaching us the aspect of how the cycle of life continues to move on. Samek, prop. We prop ourselves up on the foundation by standing in our truth. Devil, Ayin, eye, see through illusions. The Tower, Peh, mouth. Sometimes our mouth can get us in trouble because we use it to express the preconceived ideas we have. The Star, Zadi, fish hook, putting an answer or question on the fish hook, throwing it into the unconscious with the proper question so that we can bring up the answer we're looking for. The Moon, Qaf, back of the head, whereas the Sun, Aresh, is the head or front of the head. Both of these are reminders that we look at the life force energy, and no matter how we look at it, front or back, we realize it is always in existence. Sheen, tooth, judgment, that we're really able to take a good bite out of life, but we don't want to judge what it is that's going on, because sometimes that can be harmful to us. It takes us away from really understanding what's what, because we assign a value that necessarily isn't there. And finally, Tav, world, mark, setting our mark upon the world. And each one of these also has an astrological symbol assigned to it, a gematria value, which is different than the order of the card itself. So even though the tarot card is 0, it's actually the first, it's actually number 1, Aleph equals 1, but the Fool has a different number assigned to it. Okay, so as we go through, we can understand a little bit more about the order of the cards, what they're all about, what the gematria is, the astrology, and then finally the alchemy. So if you just use this table, and if you go through here, you'll find great value in connecting them together. And if you want a little bit more in depth in each one, just scroll a little to the left here. We have the highlights of the tarot. And you go and you have each one of the cards, all 22 of the major arcana right here. So you can just click on them. Click on the lovers for today, since today's Gemini, Moon, and it gives a nice, good description. Also shows us all the same information we were looking at. So Gemini, lovers, key number 6, Hebrew letters Ayin, sword, take away the S, you got words or actions. Colors orange, note D, gematria number 7. Astrology is Gemini, and Gemini is an air sign. Alright, so there you have it. That kind of gives a little summary of tarot in regards to the tree of life. And if you just put those together, if you just work with those, you'll find that it helps you to understand a lot more of really what it's all about. The system's not complicated. It looks complicated. There's a lot of information that's there that requires one to really take time to process it, understand it, go inside, close your eyes, and learn the deeper meaning of it. Because a symbol, though it has a basic meaning, it has a different way of interpretation in everybody's life, because your life and my life are all moving along in whatever way it's moving along, and the lessons we're getting are not necessarily in the same order. So as we pay attention to these lessons, to these signposts, we'll start to see that these signposts are all around us each and every day, and we're learning from them all the time. Alright, so let's move on. This is an article here at In5D. It's called Discover the Power of Gratitude to Unleash Unlimited Abundance and Happiness in Your Life. This is by Ann Lofton. Very important to have gratitude. So developing an attitude of sincere gratitude for your current blessing unleashes the power for receiving many more. Every day, give thanks. The power of gratitude is an extremely important aspect of attracting yourself to the abundance and happiness that you desire and deserve in your life. Let's explore how sincere gratefulness works and fits into the overall truth of the universal law and why it is so. As we have discovered the law of vibration, everything within our universe is vibrating massive atoms and subatomic particles. Through the law of attraction, the energy or vibrations that you resonate and project based on your thoughts, feelings, and emotions determines your vibrational frequency, which broadcasts that frequency, attracts it to energy or vibrational frequencies that harmonize or resonate with it, which determines the events, situations, and circumstances that you attract and eventually see manifest into your life. Absolutely everything is affected by the power of gratitude. When you are in a sincere state of gratitude, your energy or vibrational resonance is one of acceptance and harmony. You resonate and as a result project a much higher vibrational frequency, which is exactly what attracts you to the events, conditions, and circumstances that you desire. Okay, there's a lot more to the article. I'm going to leave this for you to read. But the whole point is, everything's about energy. Okay? Everything is about energy. So when we get involved with expressing energy that's positive like this, energy of gratitude, what we're doing is expressing to the universe that we're grateful, and the universe reflects back to us that it's grateful to us. And we've set ourselves up in a good field of energy. This is all following along with the ideas that are expressed not only on the Tree of Life, in the Kabbalistic system, throughout the Tarot, but also in the Kybalion, the principles that we went, that everything's energy. Energy vibrates. Energy corresponds to everything else. And energy has a cause and effect. So if we give thanks and gratitude, guess what? We're providing a cause that is going to have an effect on our lives, a positive effect, because we've caused something to happen positively, and therefore the universe reflects back to us something positive as an effect of what we've just caused. It's a pretty simple process. That's what's the beauty of it, that it's simple and allows us all to be able to learn from it all the time. All we have to do is just keep practicing. And therein lies the challenge, finding the time to do the practice that we need. All right, here's our message for today. It's from Hilarion. Here we go.
Hilarion.
March 22nd through the 29th, 2015, by Marlene Swetleshoff.
Hilarion.
Beloved ones, there is a sense of accomplishment on the inner planes as the cosmic alignments and human activities are taking place upon your planet. Your loving energies have been given and applied where it is needed the most, and every particle has been utilized for the highest good of all, with loving gratitude and appreciation for your efforts. You are loved so very much by your family of light. Every particle of light expands and fills all the places and spaces that are shifting as the shadows recede, and in this way is growing exponentially. It is touching the hearts of all upon the planet, and even those who keep trying to douse the holy flame burning within their own heart. It is a time for deep reflection upon that which still needs to be purged and released from every person's soul, and looking deeply within self is a conscious choice that requires total honesty and courage. The fire within you demands such scrutiny, and you are capable of it as you continue to follow your own star. Following your own star means choosing to be your own best friend. It means lavishing kindness, compassion, and love upon your own being, and remembering that you are an open-hearted soul who is goodness incarnate. Release the past experiences where that goodness was taken advantage of by others who did not take the high road as you do. Let go of the wounds within you that these actions placed upon your soul. You were and are innocent, and you are not responsible for the souls who choose to stay in the old paradigm levels of staying small. Let go of the need to save them from themselves and their own choices. Nurture yourself and walk tall upon your world, for your light and your goodness is very much appreciated, as is your ability to expand that light in ever-widening circles of radius. Sooner or later, this will touch all hearts in an opening and expanding way. Success comes to you as a result of your own efforts, and you have all that you need to move forward in the fruition of your dreams, goals, and visions. You are ones who must always share the gifts you receive with others, for that is your very nature and you must always be true to yourself. Give honor to the feminine aspect within you by choosing to work with others in a cooperative manner and by the showing of respect for the diversity of all people. The feminine energy manifests in each individual as a willingness to learn new ways to make one's ideals and ideas workable. The feminine energy places the importance of life first by taking care of the earth and all her inhabitants. The feminine influence and foremost law is that there be harm to none. This includes an acknowledgement and honoring of the air, water, fire, earth, and cosmic elements for their contribution to the beauty and evolvement of the planet. Everything works together for the common good of all. This is the direction that life upon your planet is once again headed and which will once again prevail. You have learned that positive thought creates positive change on the earth. Your efforts to create a world where everyone's real needs are met, where everyone is free, respected and equal has been and is, creating changes within individual consciousness which in turn is vital and most helpful in group and world consciousness. When there are storms, visualize the winds gentling, the storms easing, the tornadoes moving away from populated areas. Where there is a trouble spot in the world, send love and compassion to heal it and to lessen its pain. Be brave and project healing thoughts of love to your planet, to all her inhabitants and all her elements. As the collective consciousness changes, so does the earth move and evolve in that direction also. This is the beauty of peaceful and positive change that comes through mindful and loving intention. There is a need to support each other and the earth. Send love and gratitude to your planet for her fidelity to you, her inhabitants. She has been in a holding pattern for many years, trying to wait for humanity to awaken and join her in the great opportunity that has now come forth for all. She is ready to move forward on her ascension into the higher dimensions. She wants to take you along with her. When you align in oneness with the Earth Mother, many miracles of healing and restoration will take place. Until next week. I am Hilarion.
Alright, very nice message. Very nice message from Hilarion. And that brings us to our meditation. Well, actually, Warrior of the Light message. Let's get this here. Today, this is the lesson, message, page 49. The two worst strategic mistakes to make are acting prematurely and letting an opportunity slip. To avoid this, the warrior treats each situation as if it were unique and never resorts to formula, recipes, or other people's opinions. The Caliph Moyat asked Orm bin al-As the secret of his great political skills. I never get involved in something without having first worked out my retreat. Then again, I've never gone into a situation and immediately wanted to run straight out again, came the answer. So let's close our eyes, take a deep breath, and exhale. Take another deep breath, and exhale again. And another deep breath, and exhale. Let's just imagine ourselves on this tree of life, walking the paths along the tree of life. Let's imagine ourselves just walking from classroom to classroom. First to the second, to the third, to the fourth, to the fifth, to the sixth, to the seventh, to the eighth, to the ninth, and to the 10th. And as we walk from classroom to classroom, we notice the fire, the water, the air, and the earth working in each area. We explore the ideas, the emotions, the words and actions, and the form of each one of these particular lessons. We walk the paths of life between the classrooms. We realize that all of life is moving us forward in a positive direction. We realize the things that trip us up are when we get caught up in making judgments on situations as opposed to just observing them, evaluating and adjusting our course. We learn to understand the differences between observations and judgments. We understand the necessity to evaluate, but to do so from an unbiased standpoint so we can truly see what it is we wish to see. So as we move through life, walking along, we recognize how this path, how the paths on the tree of life play themselves out each and every day. We understand how the symbols presented to us from such things as tarot or astrology are simply guideposts along the way, no different than signs along the road when we travel in the physical world. And as we begin to be more familiar with the various signs that present themselves in our lives, we find we're able to be more effective because we find that life reminds us all the time of who we are, what we're doing, where we want to go. All of this in synchronicity with the thoughts that we express. So we just send positive vibes out into the world right now to each and every one walking the path of life, that they might see clearly the path before them, that they might understand the symbols and the signs being shown to them along the way, and that they might make evaluations and adjustments that help them to arrive where they wish to arrive. So let's just walk through the world today from a place of observation, observing what life has to offer and how we respond to the offers that are presented to us. And as we find our place walking, we find ourselves patiently understanding that everything has a purpose, everything has a divine timing, and when we move in accord with this divine timing, everything moves smoothly as we walk through one open door after another. So let the subconscious mind continue on that journey of observation, observing the doors that are opening and the ones that are closing, and moving accordingly. And let's bring the conscious mind back to the present moment on the count of 3. 3 coming back to the present moment filled with confidence. 2 coming back to the present moment filled with faith. And 1 coming back to the present moment happy, healthy, and whole. Happy, healthy, whole. Take another deep breath. Exhale. And open your eyes. That's it, my friends. That's the show for today. Thank you very much for being here. Go back to the links for today. You can find them at firstcontactradio.com. Look over the tree of life. Take that symbol, copy it, put it up on your wall. Just get familiar with how everything works, and you will find that everything in your life can be related back to that symbol. And once you understand that, you'll be able to find that you can easily put your life in balance just by paying attention to the signposts all around you. It's not a complicated system at all. It just looks that way. Don't be afraid. There's nothing that's taking control of you. You're not giving your power away. You're just looking at signs. No different than if you're driving down the road, walking down the street. So that's it. Have an awesome day. I'll be back tomorrow with more news and information. Till then, be safe. Have an awesome day. I love you, and keep loving each other. Peace. I'm out of here.